Chapter 10. The Battle of Troy. Reading. Myths are traditional stories that have endured over a long time. Some of them have to do with events of great importance, such as the founding of a nation. Others are simple tales about unremarkable people who do great deeds. Still others tell us the stories of great heroes and heroines, their exploits and courage in the face of danger. The story of Trojan War is one such tale of valor and courage. It is known mostly from Homer's poem, The Iliad. The Trojan War was a mythological battle between the people of Greece and the people of the city of Troy. It began when Paris, the prince of Troy, ran away with Helen, the beautiful wife of Menelaus, the king of Sparta. Menelaus was outraged and called upon all his supporters to aid him in attacking Troy. Agamemnon, the brother of Menelaus, gathered troops and prepared a fleet of thousands ships to attack the Trojans. Each of the great cities of Greece sent an army. Some of the greatest Greek heroes of the time led the army in the battle. Achilles, Ajax, Diomedes, Nestor, Odysseus, and Patroclus. The battle raged on for 9 long years. The city of Troy was surrounded by tall walls which the Greeks could not penetrate. Though the Greeks destroyed the surroundings, Trojan territory, they could do little to damage the city. By far the greatest of the Greek warriors was Achilles. He was faster and stronger than any man alive, but the Greek king Agamemnon had insulted him, and Achilles was so hurt that he refused to take part in the battle of Troy. Instead, he stayed inside his tent and sulked, while Greeks fought with the Trojans. Many brave soldiers were killed and wounded on both sides, but as long as Achilles refused to fight, the Trojans were stronger. The situation took a sudden turn when Achilles heard that his best friend Patroclus had been killed by Hector, the Trojan hero. His anger and sorrow drove him to the battlefield once again. In the great battlefield that ensured, Prince Hector was killed by Achilles. After the death of Hector, the Greek army thought they would soon win the war. But Prince Paris had other plans. He was aware that Achilles was an immortal hero. No weapon could kill him. But his heel was mortal, so Paris aimed his arrow at his heel. Achilles fell from his chariot and died. Even after the deaths of Hector and Achilles, the war dragged on. Neither the Greeks nor the Trojans seemed to be able to win. Then Odysseus of Ithaca had an idea. He said, "So the Greeks made a huge wooden horse and left it near the wall of the city of Troy. Then they pretended to sail home as though they had given up and left. But actually they hid nearby. Soon the Trojans found the horse. They asked each other, but nobody knew. Then someone found a lone Greek soldier nearby. When questioned, he said the Greeks hated him and had abandoned him. He also said that the horse was an offering to the goddess Athena. The Trojans were taken in. They didn't want to offend the goddess Athena, so they rolled the big horse into the city of Troy. They left it at the temple of Athena. Then they gathered to celebrate what they thought was the end of the war. That night, when most of Troy slept in peace, the Greek soldiers inside the wooden horse opened the gates and let in the countrymen who had only pretended to go away. A big battle was fought and the Greeks won. All the men of Troy were killed and all the women and children taken back to Greece as slaves. Helen, now middle-aged, was still a beauty. Menelaus, who was to begin with determined to kill his faithless wife, was taken by her beauty and allowed her to stay with him. So ended the Trojan War after 10 years. The foundation for the story of the Iliad is rage, the rage of Menelaus at the theft of Helen, the rage of Achilles at the death of Patroclus. Rage led to war, but what did it achieve? The great city of Troy was utterly destroyed. thousands of Greeks and Trojans lost their lives. Women and children were rendered homeless. In fact, many of the Greek soldiers could never return to Greece after the war and had to settle down in alien lands. So, like all wars, it was a futile war that produced many tragedies.